When a young woman starts looking at you differently, it's like the calm before a storm. You know something is about to change, but you have no idea how intense it's going to be. Because a woman will never come right out and tell you she wants to be yours. She'll say it through seemingly innocent questions, phrases wrapped in shyness and curiosity, but underneath, they reveal a deep and irreversible attraction. What I'm about to share with you today might be uncomfortable, but it's the truth you need to hear. Because if you can spot these signs in time, you can turn her curiosity into desire, and that desire into complete surrender. Especially the last phrase I'm going to reveal today. It will forever change the way you understand a young woman. I'm Celia, a psychologist and therapist with over 20 years of listening to what women never confess to their husbands. And if you want to truly understand the female mind, don't go anywhere, because what you're about to discover could be the difference between being the man she forgets easily or the one she'll never be able to erase from her memory. How old are you really? Think back to the last time a young woman asked you that question with a certain sparkle in her eyes. And I'm not talking about innocent curiosity. I mean that subtle, restless, slightly uncomfortable look that appears when your age isn't a problem, but a powerful magnet that triggers an attraction she doesn't even fully understand. When a young woman comes to you with that question, she's not asking for a number. She's trying to confirm something deeper, whether you truly embody that masculine aura, that irresistible mystery that only comes from years deeply lived. Because, whether you want to admit it or not, a young woman isn't drawn to youth. She's drawn to the experience of a man who knows what he wants, who understands how to get it, and who remains unshaken by feminine insecurity. If you've ever wondered why young women often look down on men their own age, just think about this. Those guys are still figuring themselves out. They're trapped in the need for external validation. They lack direction, and worse yet, they've never been tested by life. And that's exactly where you come in, because a mature man, even if he carries invisible scars, has already been tested by life and survived. That creates a kind of curiosity in her that borders on the sexual. She's not looking for your youth. She's looking for your strength, your resilience, and your leadership. She's searching for what boys her age can't give her. Something she can only find in a man who's lived long enough to be fully authentic. And that man could be you, if you understand this. When she asks how old you are, she wants more than your time on earth. She wants to feel the confidence with which you walk through it. I remember a 53-year-old man who came into my office with his self-esteem in pieces, convinced that his best days were long behind him. He was faced with a woman 20 years younger, but he couldn't even look her in the eye. He thought it was impossible to stir anything in her beyond pity. What he didn't know was that while he was drowning in doubt, she had already asked around about him. She had quietly questioned people who knew his past, and in a casual encounter, she dropped that revealing question. How old are you really? He, with his shattered confidence, took the question as a humiliation, when in reality, it was a bridge to her desire. What she truly wanted to confirm was that behind his age, there was wisdom, protection, and leadership. But he didn't know how to read her. He missed the moment and sank even deeper into emotional defeat. Understand this. When a young woman asks you that question, she's already been watching you. She's already evaluated your presence and imagined what it would be like to be with you. The question isn't casual, it's strategic, and it's your job to use it as an opportunity to assert who you are and what you bring to the table. So if a young woman has ever asked you that question, never doubt yourself again. Don't let your insecurities cost you ground or let that moment slip away. Your power as a mature man doesn't lie in hiding your age. It lies in wearing it with pride, in showing her that you don't need to apologize for who you are, because behind those years are stories, hard choices, and deep victories that she's secretly longing to discover. She's not looking for a number. She's looking for an answer that proves the man in front of her can make her feel safe, cherished, and completely like a woman. When a young woman starts looking at you differently, your age stops being just a number and becomes a gateway to a reality she's never experienced before. But the confidence your maturity gives off is only part of the equation. We've now arrived at the second key point of this video, and it's a question that reveals something much deeper. Have you always been this confident? Pay close attention, because behind this innocent phrase, wrapped in feminine softness, hides a powerful truth about female desire and the emotional mechanism that draws her to certain men and not others. Most men I know, when they hear this question, immediately fall into the ego trap. They think she's admiring their power, praising their strength. But what she's really doing is testing the authenticity of your confidence. She's trying to find out whether that confidence is real or just a well-practiced mask. Why does a young woman need to do this? Because the answer lies in the very nature of her desire. Women, especially those in their 20s and 30s, have already met plenty of men who seem confident until life tests them. What she wants to know isn't whether you're perfect or flawless. It's whether you have the emotional resilience to face adversity with calm and determination. The Stoics said it best: it's not the circumstances that affect a man, but how he responds to them. And that's exactly what she's trying to see when she questions your confidence. She's not looking for a man who's never doubted. She's looking for one who, even with doubts, has conquered them from within, without begging for validation, without needing anyone else to feel secure. Here's the uncomfortable truth I want to share with you. There is nothing more repelling to a young woman than realizing that your confidence depends on her. That moment when you appear needy, insecure, desperate for approval, that's the exact moment her desire dies. And it doesn't fade slowly. It shuts off instantly. Because what she sees in front of her isn't a man, it's a boy in a grown man's body. This is why so many men, even those who seem high value, lose a woman's respect and desire in seconds. So when a young woman asks if you've always been confident, what you need to show her isn't arrogance or cockiness, but a deep calm that comes from weathering internal storms. Show her through your eyes, your presence, and your voice that your confidence isn't surface level. It's been forged slowly, strike by strike, scar by scar. And that's exactly why it's unbreakable. And here's the most important part. Do not make the mistake of trying to explain or justify your confidence. A truly confident man doesn't explain. He simply is. She needs to feel it in your silence, in the way you hold her gaze without flinching, in how you listen to her insecurities without taking them on as your own. This doesn't mean you should be cold or distant. It means you never let her emotions shake your internal balance. The man a young woman truly desires isn't the one who's never felt fear. It's the one who's looked fear in the eye and turned it into strength. That is true masculine power, and that is the answer she's searching for behind that seemingly casual question. If you can understand and live by this truth, you'll become the man she always comes back to, the one she thinks about before falling asleep, the only one she truly admires. But remember, real confidence isn't learned. It's cultivated from within, through experience, self-reflection, and self-mastery. That's why when she asks, "Have you always been this confident?" don't answer with empty words. Answer with the quiet strength of a man who knows exactly who he is. I don't know why, but I feel something different with you. When a young woman says this, she's revealing something she doesn't fully understand herself, but that you must understand completely. We've reached the third key point of this video, and this is where things start to shift irreversibly. Because behind that seemingly innocent phrase, she's letting you know that she's already placed you in a unique space in her mind. You're different, special, and that gives you a powerful advantage you need to learn to handle wisely. What you need to do from this moment on is simple, but highly strategic. Create emotional ambiguity. Make her feel that being with you is different, that what she's experiencing is something she's never felt before, something she can't quite explain or define. That's where your real power lies. Because as long as she feels you represent something beyond the ordinary, something outside her emotional control, her interest will quickly turn into obsession. To apply this in your life, you need to develop a paradoxical and consistent attitude. Show interest and detachment at the same time. Let her feel she can trust you, but also that you're unpredictable. Why does this work? Because the female mind is wired to seek emotional challenges. She needs to feel that she doesn't completely control the man she's with. That feeling of uncertainty is what fuels her deepest desire. Young women are often surrounded by predictable, overly accommodating, boring men who hand over all their validation too early, turning themselves into emotional puppets she quickly discards. So when she tells you, "I feel something different with you," what she's really trying to confirm is whether you have the emotional strength to keep her dancing between curiosity and desire, without ever falling into monotony or neediness. Let me illustrate this strategy with a clear, real example. A client of mine, a 49-year-old man, started noticing how a woman 20 years younger kept approaching him. One day, she shyly confessed, "I don't know why, but I feel something different with you." He made the mistake of trying to define that difference, trying to explain rationally what she was feeling. That only made her lose interest almost instantly. When we worked together, I taught him how to create this emotional ambiguity. I showed him how to respond with an enigmatic smile and short, powerful phrases like, "Don't try to understand it all right now, just go with it." The result was immediate and decisive. That same woman, who once seemed distant, was suddenly drawing closer, more intrigued, more willing to take deeper steps with him, because he no longer tried to explain the connection. He simply let her feel it and experience it fully. If you learn how to use this strategy correctly, you won't be just another man in her life. You'll become the most intense, addictive experience she's ever had. Don't try to clarify it. Don't try to define that special feeling. Just use it to your advantage. Let her see it as something undefinable, something she can't control, and watch as she becomes more and more emotionally dependent on you. The key is simple. Be the man who awakens unique emotions, without explanations, without asking permission, without offering apologies. That's how you turn a seemingly harmless phrase into the doorway to a relationship where you hold complete emotional control. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button so this message can reach more men who, just like you, need to understand the hidden truth behind the things women say. Let me know in the comments which country you're watching from, and share your thoughts on this statement. I am wisdom and experience. There are still important lessons ahead, especially the final one, which will be key to fully understanding how to use female psychology to your advantage. When a young woman says, "What would people think if they saw us together?" she's not just making a casual remark. She's revealing one of the most powerful and destructive mental traps that many men fall into without even realizing it. We've now reached the fourth key point of this video, and here we have to confront something that, if you don't recognize it in time, can destroy any real chance of a deep connection with a younger woman. Most men, when they hear this question, freeze. They start imagining the criticism, the whispers, the social judgment, and within seconds, they let fear and insecurity take hold. Here's the trap. The moment you accept the premise behind that question, the idea that other people's opinions can define your worth as a man or the value of your relationship, you give away your power instantly. You're showing her that you lack the emotional strength to face social judgment, and that is the exact opposite of what a young woman is looking for in a mature man. Why is this mistake so destructive? Because it puts you in a mental state where you need external approval to validate yourself. A mature man who depends on others' judgment automatically loses a young woman's respect. She's already surrounded by weak, insecure men obsessed with how they're perceived. What she's looking for in you is the exact opposite. Someone who stands firm, unshaken by others' opinions. Someone whose confidence comes from within, solid and unbreakable. When you start worrying about what others might think, you're unconsciously communicating that their opinion matters more than your own self-worth. That's the fastest route to losing her desire, her respect, and turning what could have been an exciting, bold relationship into something lukewarm, timid, and doomed to fail. This mental trap works like this. From a young age, we're taught to seek external validation. We're told other people's opinions matter, that we should please, that we should seek acceptance. This social programming is deeply rooted in your subconscious. So when she asks that question, it's not by accident. It's because she instinctively knows she's touching a sensitive nerve, tapping into that cultural conditioning you've been carrying for years without questioning. The only way to break free from this trap is to recognize it clearly. Watch how it works inside you, how it triggers insecurity, fear of rejection, fear of being seen as inappropriate or unworthy of her. Once you recognize the trap, you can reject it with all your inner strength. You can look her in the eye and say without hesitation that you don't need external approval, because the only validation that truly matters is your own. That firm, authentic, decisive response is what truly creates attraction, because you're showing her you're capable of leading, of taking risks, of facing the world without apologizing for what you want. The consequences of not understanding this are serious. When you fall into this mental trap, you don't just lose chances with young women, you start losing yourself. Your self-esteem erodes because you constantly see yourself as a man who has to justify his desires, who has to ask permission to feel, who needs validation from others to make choices in his own life. This weakens you emotionally and places you in a permanent state of victimhood, a place from which it's impossible to genuinely attract a young woman. On the contrary, you become repellent because no one wants to be around someone who needs others' approval to sustain their internal value. Young women, especially, are drawn to men whose self-approval is so strong they never even ask what people would think of them together, because the only judgment that matters comes from within. If you want to break free from this destructive trap, understand this with absolute clarity. What others think about you and your relationship with a younger woman is irrelevant. What matters is that you value yourself, that you make decisions based on what you truly desire, and that you act with coherence, confidence, and unwavering conviction. This is true masculine power, the ability to hold your mental frame regardless of social judgment. And it's the only path to a relationship she can truly respect and admire. Have you ever been with someone younger before? When a young woman asks you this, she's putting you through a subtle but incredibly revealing test. We've now reached the 5th key point of this video, and this is where the situation demands total mental and emotional clarity from you. Because behind what seems like a curious or innocent question lies a deeper insecurity. She wants to see if you can handle her, not just physically, but emotionally, in unfamiliar territory. This is the exact moment where most men lose their chance. Caught in their ego or anxiety, they start giving unnecessary explanations, trying to justify their experience, or worse, they openly reveal their insecurities. And that is the worst possible move. Because if you play this game from a place of neediness, if you feel you have to prove yourself to her, you've already lost before the real connection even begins. The real consequence of answering this question from a place of weakness is devastating to your image and your value as a man. Instantly, you stop being seen as a figure of emotional authority. Instead, you become a man chasing approval, someone who relies on past experiences to prove he's worthy of her. And that is exactly what kills attraction and respect in a young woman. She's not looking for a man who needs her validation to feel confident. She's looking for the opposite, a man who holds his inner strength without needing to prove anything. If you fall into the trap of responding with fear or nervousness, all you'll do is confirm to her that you lack the maturity and emotional stability to lead a relationship with a younger woman, someone who is, deep down, searching for protection, security, and clear direction. You'll be handing over all your power, all your advantage, just because of one moment of hesitation that reveals an insecurity you may not have even realized was there. So how do you turn this around? There are no cheap tricks or magic lines. The only real way to pass this test is by adopting a mindset of absolute certainty, calm, and clarity about who you are and what you want. The next time a young woman asks you this question, instead of justifying yourself, respond with calm confidence and a knowing smile that shows you don't need to prove anything to anyone, that your worth as a man is not defined by experience or inexperience. The right mindset understands that every interaction, every question, every doubt she expresses is a test of your ability to stay grounded in the face of emotional challenges. What she's really looking for isn't information about your past, but clear, unmistakable proof of your emotional maturity and inner control. Once you understand this, you'll respond from strength, not weakness. You have to see this test as an opportunity in disguise to show that your value doesn't depend on outside approval, but on your ability to hold presence and direction as a man without hesitation. Don't explain your past. Don't fall into comparisons. Just make it clear through your demeanor that the past is irrelevant, because what matters is your ability to handle the present with confidence and authority. And when you do this, you'll find that the very question that could have destroyed your value in her eyes will now elevate it, because you've passed one of the most subtle and revealing tests a young woman can throw at you. That's how you turn a seemingly dangerous moment into a powerful advantage, by showing a confidence that she finds utterly irresistible. Do you think I'm too young for you? This question is the ultimate sign that something deep has already taken root in her mind, but now it's up to you to respond to that unspoken invitation to take the next step. We've arrived at the 6th key point of this video, and you need to understand that there's no room for hesitation here. Picture this moment. You're sitting across from her in a quiet place. The conversation is flowing, and suddenly she drops that question, her eyes revealing a mix of insecurity and challenge. She's not looking for a diplomatic answer. What she wants is a clear, confident response, one that both calms her doubts and sparks a powerful emotional reaction that makes her feel drawn to you in a way she can't resist. This is where many men crumble, caught in internal doubts, tangled in social norms, or paralyzed by irrational fears of rejection and judgment. But this is the precise moment, the critical point in the conversation, where you decide whether you'll be the kind of man she can't resist, or just another coward who lets the moment slip away. I want you to clearly visualize what happens when you fail to meet this moment with the strength and confidence it demands. Imagine that she asks the question, and you freeze. You smile nervously and start justifying yourself with lines like, "Well, maybe you're right," or "I don't know, it could be complicated." Do you know what happens next? All that desire she was building in her mind disappears in an instant. She no longer sees you as an attractive man. She no longer sees you as someone worth exploring. You become weak in her eyes, a man who lacks the emotional strength and clarity to go after what he wants. And the worst part, you start to believe it too. That insecurity begins to take root deep inside you, and every future interaction with her, or with any other younger woman, becomes harder, more awkward, more painful. You fall into a cycle of constant insecurity that holds you back from any real progress in your emotional life. And believe me, no one wants to be near a man who doesn't know what he wants or how to get it. That's exactly why you need to understand this. This seemingly simple question is actually a golden opportunity to show her who you really are. It's your chance to make it clear that age is just a number, and that what truly matters is your presence, your emotional leadership, and your ability to guide the relationship forward with absolute certainty. She's not really worried about the age gap. What she's doing is testing your reaction, gauging your resolve. She wants to feel that you are completely comfortable in your own skin, that you don't apologize or make excuses for being a mature man, because deep down, she knows that it's that very maturity that makes you so irresistibly attractive. What really draws her in is the unshakable confidence of a man who can handle her, protect her, lead her, and make her feel something she's never felt before. But if you choose to do nothing, if you let this moment slip away, make no mistake, what follows is frustration, regret, and a deep sense of helplessness. You'll look back at that exact moment, that conversation, that question, and you'll ask yourself over and over what could have happened if you had done things differently. That's the real emotional hell, living trapped in the memory of what might have been. You become someone who watches opportunities pass by, someone who stands on the sidelines while other men, who did have the emotional clarity, step forward and fully live what you let slip through your fingers because of fear or uncertainty. Don't let that become your reality. Don't let indecision and doubt rule your emotional life and turn you into a passive observer of your own existence. It's time to break that pattern for good. The next time you hear that question, respond with total confidence. Look at her calmly, give her a slight smile, and tell her, without hesitation, that she's not too young for you. In fact, she's exactly where she's supposed to be, at the right time, with the right man. Because that's exactly what she wants to hear, to surrender fully to you. Why do I feel like I lose control around you? If you ever hear a young woman say this to you, I want you to understand something that could forever change the way you relate to women. We've reached the 7th point of this video, and this is where you must face the most raw and powerful truth of all. A woman doesn't want to stay in control when she's truly attracted to a man. On the contrary, she longs to let go, to surrender completely, and to be swept away by the kind of intense masculine energy that only a truly confident man can provide. Up to now, we've looked at what happens when you fail to hold your frame, when you hesitate, justify yourself, or collapse under fear and insecurity. And you already know the outcome when that happens. You lose value, you lose respect, and you become invisible, forgettable. But now, it's time to embrace a deeper truth. If a young woman reaches the point of telling you she feels out of control around you, you're standing before the opportunity of a lifetime. But that opportunity also comes with a massive responsibility. Because from this moment on, the direction of the relationship depends entirely on you. You must decide, are you going to keep being the man who hesitates, who doubts, who waits for permission and approval before he acts? Or are you finally going to become the man who takes full control of his life and of the relationship? Because here's the brutal, simple reality. The only way she can lose control is if you take it. There's no room for half measures or weak excuses. If you want real change, it's on you. No one is going to hand you the confidence or decisiveness you need. No one is coming to rescue you from your own emotional weakness. You have to confront your fears, face your insecurities, and learn how to hold that intense, powerful energy she's so deeply drawn to. What you need to realize now is that you have a very clear choice in front of you. You can keep being the man who watches opportunities slip by, who gets tested, rejected, or left in the emotional gray zone of indifference. Or you can become the man young women dream about. The man they can't resist because they know they can fully surrender to him, completely and without holding back. There is no middle ground here, no safe option. You have to choose whether you'll be the man she forgets or the man she never forgets. That choice is tough, uncomfortable, and demanding, but it's the only one that truly matters. Because when a young woman loses control with you, it's the most powerful sign that you're doing everything right, that you've fully embraced your masculine role, your leadership, and your emotional strength. But don't forget, this transformation is 100% on you. It doesn't matter how well you understand this truth or how many videos like this you watch. If you're not willing to apply what you've learned, nothing will change. You'll stay trapped in mediocre relationships, still chasing external validation, still being the same weak, uncertain man who never truly connects with a young woman. The change you need to make is internal, deep, and radical. You must make a firm decision right now, from this moment forward, in every interaction with her. Stop making excuses. Stop looking for explanations. Act from the unshakable confidence of a man who knows exactly who he is and what he wants. So take a moment to reflect on everything you've learned so far. The weight of your decisions is real, and you will feel it every day of your life. You don't have time to wait. You don't have space for excuses. The difference between being a forgotten man or an unforgettable one rests entirely on you. There's no turning back. Embrace this truth now and become the man a young woman will never get out of her mind. What is it that you're really looking for in me? If a young woman ever asks you this question, you need to be crystal clear about what's happening, because we've reached the 8th point of this video, and this moment can make all the difference between becoming the man she deeply desires or just another forgettable figure who drifts through her life. After everything you've learned so far, you must understand that this question isn't just about validation. It's a clear sign of deeper anxiety, a need to feel that she holds a special place in your life, that she's not just a passing whim. She needs to feel that you've chosen her deliberately, not out of loneliness or desperation, but because you see something in her that's unique and valuable, something you want to explore on a deeper level. But here's the most important part. The way you answer this question will either intensify her desire or make it vanish in seconds. There is no room here for hesitation or insecure, improvised answers. The first thing you need to do is adopt a mindset that's absolutely clear and commanding. You cannot afford to sound uncertain or vague. Your response must make it unmistakably clear that you know exactly what you want and that you're not afraid to express it. This isn't about throwing compliments at her or saying something pretty just to keep her interested. It's about communicating with power and precision what you truly seek in her. Maybe it's her emotional intensity, her youth, her energy, or that rare mix of innocence and desire. Whatever it is, say it with clarity. No excuses, no apologies, no fear of judgment. That raw honesty, delivered with complete confidence, creates a magnetic pull, because she'll immediately sense that she's dealing with a man who's real, direct, and unafraid to go after what he wants. That's the only way she'll take you seriously, and the only way she'll feel it's worth giving herself fully to you. Now, here's what you must avoid at all costs. If you answer this question with uncertainty, with vague answers or obvious attempts to please, you'll instantly fall into the category of mediocre, indecisive men who can't offer her direction or make her feel safe. And believe me, that's not what she's looking for. She wants intensity, she wants clarity, she wants to feel the emotional presence of a man so grounded and sure of himself that she never has to question where things are going. So here's what to do next time you hear this question. Pause for a second, take a calm breath, look her directly in the eyes, and respond with quiet strength and full honesty. Say exactly what you want from her. No need for approval, no need to justify it. Just say it. Let your clarity and emotional control speak for you. Because here's the truth. She's not waiting for the perfect answer. She's waiting to feel that your words come from a man who knows who he is. That alone is incredibly attractive. But before we finish this point, let me remind you of something crucial. None of this will matter if you treat it like a temporary tactic. You need to internalize this mindset fully. It needs to become a permanent part of how you live, how you communicate, and how you relate to women. No surface-level trick will get you there. No shortcut will substitute the inner work you need to do. You are the only one responsible for your emotional life, and if you truly want to build deep, intense, authentic relationships with younger women, it starts with a full commitment to this shift in mindset. No one else is going to do the work for you. No one is coming to rescue you from your insecurity. No one is going to hand you the confidence you're missing. Only you can do that, and you have to do it now. This is the exact moment where your life can change drastically, but only if you commit fully and without hesitation to the reality that this transformation is yours alone to create. Do you think something could actually work between us? When a young woman asks you this question, she's putting you through the final test, the most dangerous one of all, because this is the moment where all your excuses, your fears, and your self-deception start to surface. We've reached the 9th point of this video, and it's crucial that you fully understand what's happening right now. This is the moment when you start telling yourself things like, "She's too young, this isn't realistic. She probably wants someone her own age. What will people think? What if it doesn't work out? I don't want to make a fool of myself." All of these are just cowardly ways of justifying inaction, ways of hiding your deepest fear behind socially acceptable excuses. But here's what you need to understand. These excuses are lies. Lies you tell yourself so you can stay comfortable. So you don't have to face the hard truth that the only person responsible for your emotional failures is you. No one else is to blame for the chances you let slip away. No one else is responsible for your decision to stay passive. These excuses feel real because they temporarily protect you from pain, from failure, from the vulnerability of putting yourself out there and admitting that yes, you actually want this relationship. But that protection is fake, shallow, and ultimately destructive. All you're really doing by believing those excuses is keeping yourself stuck in the same emotional space you've always been in, insecure, frustrated, convinced you're not good enough, and watching real opportunities pass you by, opportunities that will never return. These excuses might comfort you in the short term, but in the long term, they sentence you to a life of regret, of always asking, what if? That's the worst emotional prison a man can live in, knowing he had a chance to experience something powerful with a young, vibrant, desirable woman and didn't have the courage to go for it. To finally break free from this cycle of excuses and self-deception, you need to confront them directly. You need to look them in the eye and recognize them for what they really are: cowardice disguised as caution, insecurity masked as maturity, fear hiding behind comfort. Here's the most brutal and freeing truth you'll hear. No matter how many excuses you make, they'll never truly protect you from emotional pain. The pain of doing nothing, of staying passive, of living in regret, is far worse than any rejection you might face by acting with clarity and purpose. It's better to face rejection head-on than to live trapped in self-pity and emotional mediocrity. You need to understand, right now, that the only way to face this question, do you think something could work between us, is to respond from a place of complete clarity and conviction. It doesn't matter if the world disagrees. It doesn't matter if people judge or criticize you. The only thing that matters is what you truly want. If you want a relationship with her, if you want to live that experience fully, then stop searching for reasons to justify doing nothing. Step forward with absolute determination. There are no magic answers, no easy outs. There is only your real ability to take full responsibility for your emotional life and act accordingly. That's the only way to break the cycle of excuses and self-sabotage you've been trapped in for so long. So stop lying to yourself. Stop creating reasons to cover up your fear or emotional paralysis. Face the question directly. Respond with total clarity. And finally accept that the outcome depends entirely on your ability to confront reality without sugarcoating or retreat. Because the truth is simple, the difference between being a man she forgets and the man she never forgets has always been in your hands. No one else can do this for you. It's your life, your choice, and above all, your responsibility. If you've made it this far, there's something important you need to know. Very few men are willing to face uncomfortable truths all the way through. Very few have the courage to confront their own weaknesses, insecurities, and self-deceptions without turning away. But you did. And because of that, right now, you're standing before a decision that could change your life forever. You can choose to ignore what you've just heard, keep justifying your fears, and stay stuck in mediocre, frustrating relationships. Or you can decide that today is the day you start acting from a place of real confidence and personal power. No one else can make that decision for you. There will be no excuses, no one else to blame if you choose not to act. The responsibility will be yours alone. This is the moment when you decide whether you'll be the man she forgets easily or the man she can never get out of her mind. I won't sugarcoat it. Change requires courage, determination, and the willingness to face your own emotional shadow. But trust me, it's worth it. Because on the other side of that decision is the emotional life you truly deserve to live. If you're ready, right now, to break free from your limitations and excuses, I want you to comment this short, powerful phrase: I no longer hide. Post that, along with the country you're watching from, as a reminder, to yourself and to us, that you're ready to take the leap. I'm Celia, a psychologist and therapist with over 20 years of listening to what women never tell their husbands. This channel, House of Wisdom, exists because I've made it my mission to share with you what's really happening inside the female mind, so that you can awaken your true potential and take emotional control of your life. I'm not here to comfort you or offer easy answers. I'm here to challenge you, to reveal deep, powerful truths, and to help you become the strong, grounded, unforgettable man a young woman is longing for in her life. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now and join this community of men who've already decided to wake up. Share this content with someone who needs it, because right now, you might be the bridge that helps another man break free from emotional mediocrity. And it doesn't end here. 2 more videos will appear on your screen. Choose the one that makes you feel the most uncomfortable, because that's exactly where you'll find what you most need to hear. This conversation isn't over. It's just beginning.